You want to know what it is? It's that I don't want to play the game anymore. It's that I refuse to submit to a system that doesn't even follow its own rules. The Department of Defense has never, let this sink in now, never passed an audit. Not once. Not once. The Department of Defense has never passed an audit. But you and I both know that they're standing there with their hands out at every fork in the road, requiring the average man, you and me, to pay taxes and penalizing you if you don't. The game is rigged. It always was. And you know what? If that was it, I might call it, but it's not. That's not even the worst. You really want to hit him where it hurts? You want to send a message? If you want to send a message, file exempt. Working a 9 to 5, slave to the man, file exempt. If you're a 1099, don't file. And then all year next year, talk about not filing. You 9 to 5ers, keep filing exempt. Watch it all crumble. Watch them fold. They can't hit us all. This is how we do it. Right here, right now. Send the message. Bottleneck their funds. Take all your cold hard asset out of the bank and put it underneath a mattress. I'm tired of playing this game. Let's introduce a little anarchy. Upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos.
There is no peaceful resolution that will keep everyone's hands clean to do the work that needs to be done to eradicate a common enemy and start over. Lives will have to be lost. Resources will have to be lost. Life as you've known it personally and through history will never be the same. Nothing's going to change without tremendous loss of life and sacrifice. That is a fact. The reason it is as bad as it is because every generation that saw the monsters did not want to fight them. And now, to fight them the way they need to be fought, it will take a tremendous loss. It begets itself. That's why it's so bad, because people saw it and hid it and didn't want to deal with it because they thought we'll deal with it at a later time, or didn't give a damn about dealing with it. And then the cycle just continued and continued. And congratulations, you are seeing the unraveling in your lifetime. There are only 2 ways to stop this. Neither one of them are comfortable. Both of them suck. So I say again, find your little piece of the world or the country that you live in. Make it your own. Live the best life that you can live. Because it's not going back to the way it was. It will only get worse.
Americans are not ready for this kind of realization, right? Like she just said, and I've said countless times, let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the... Listen, I've said this plenty of times, right? Listen, bodies going to have to start falling, right? Resources are going to have to be lost. Comfortability is going to have to be cast to the wayside, right? There's going to be some unfortunate things that's going to have to happen if America wants their country back, right? If America wants their country back, there's going to be some very, very sinister things that has to be done, right? And you know what's so crazy? Most places in the world understands this. Most places in the world, once things get a little ugly, the people do not hold back, right? You see people in the streets, they dragging out government officials like, yeah, get over here, like some Mortal Kombat type ish, right? They don't play any games. Y'all can call them third world all you want to. Y'all can try to take the moral high ground. Well, we're civilized. We're gonna wait until the law is gonna work itself out. They're trampling on the law every single goddamn day. What the hell are you talking about? We're just gonna wait on the law, right? I trust and believe in the politicians, right? The law will work out eventually. I know that the law will work out. Yeah, you're gonna be the same one, right? With missing teeth. You done lost your home, right? You're going to be on the streets. Listen, you're going to be the same one talking about the law works for me. The law don't work for me. The law works for thee, right? It works for not you, thee, right? Listen, America's not ready for what needs to be done, right? And I think, this is part of the delusion, a lot of Americans are in, right? This is part of the brainwashing, right? That has went so far and is so deeply entrenched inside the mind of the Americans, right? Yo, they think that this is just the greatest place on earth. I would take it as far to say that Americans wouldn't even know that they're slaves, to be honest with you. There are many Americans who are operating and moving in such ignorance. They have no clue what's going on, right? They're tapped out of politics, paying attention. Hell, they don't even have money in the stock market. Many people who, they're just, listen, they're not even participating in much of society, let alone paying attention to every single thing that's going on with politicians. But that's part of the problem too. That's a big problem as well, that you have so many people who are not participating. And remember the whole, at the beginning of Red Pill, well, somewhere in the middle, men just start saying, we're just going to exit ourselves out of society. I was like, you idiots. You goddamn idiots. You're playing into the exact hands that they want you to play in. Idiots. Right? And I told people, Red Pill was a psyop. The whole manosphere was a psyop. I believe many people who were at the forefront of those of that movement, I believe they were feds. I believe they were plants, and I believe that they accelerated that type of mindset amongst men, so it can be easier for the government to come in and take control. And that's exactly what they did. Right? Many men are like, I'm just going to remove myself from society. I'm not going to date. I'm not going to participate. I'm not going to work. I'm not going to do anything. Man, you're playing into the exact hands that what good is that going to do? Right? And then many of y'all be sloppalopasauruses, you fat out of shape, not even taking care of yourself. I will see if you, was, in the forest or something, you're a lumberjack, right? You just in the middle of nowhere. You done grew out a 10-inch beard, right? You big and burly. You eating cow hearts and deer liver and all types of shit, and you just waiting on shit to pop off. You got about 100 guns stored, full of ammo, right? You just waiting on that call, right? Y'all ain't doing that. Y'all ain't doing that, niggas. Y'all niggas, you waiting on a call from your Call of Duty friends in the lobby. That's what y'all waiting on. Americans ain't ready, man. Right? And quite frankly, I don't think that they will ever be ready. See, the thinkers of society know exactly what needs to be done. Right? We know exactly what needs to be done. And quite frankly, as someone who accepts uncomfortability in my daily life, as someone who looks for pain intentionally just to build myself up and to build strong character, I know exactly what needs to be done. And I am willing to make the sacrifice. Right? I am willing to go above and beyond for that, but most people aren't, right? And as I've said in other videos, I said that, listen, there are people who are doing better than me. There are people who are doing better than you, and they're not willing to sacrifice their comfortability. Hell, there are people who probably not even doing as good as you, but as long as they can get up and get their Starbucks coffee, as long as they can get up and go to that raggedy ass job that they actually hate, right? They're practically indentured servants at that job, right? They're paying them enough just to live, right? They pay them enough just to afford the Burger King or the McDonald's that they feed themselves and their children, right? They feed them enough just to be fat. Come on, man. Americans ain't ready. Do y'all think America's ready? Because listen, most of the talk that I hear is online. But in person, people shook, right? In person, people are shook. People don't even want to talk about politics, right? People don't even want to talk about their true thoughts. Like, It's just like everybody, as soon as they get online, everybody wants to talk their true thoughts. I'll talk this shit in person. I don't talk it in person because many people can't handle, the things that I talk about, but I'll talk about this shit in person, right? But many people are scared to voice their concerns. People are scared to voice that they're scared. People are scared to say that the country ain't headed in the right direction, bucko. People are scared to say these kind of things, right? And that just shows you the cowardness of many Americans today, right? The cowardness of the American male, the cowardness of the American men, the weakness that is just flooded on the American soil, right? And that's why Daddy Trump is doing whatever he wants to do, right? Because who's going to do what? Trump has already shown. See, Trump is a bully archetype, right? If you keep letting him take an inch, he's going to take a mile. And that's exactly what Trump has been doing. He's been taking a mile, and he dares somebody to stop him, right? He probably respect the fact that some people actually try to stop him. But all in all, you keep on pushing the envelope, right? You keep letting him take an inch, he takes a mile, and that's exactly what this country has done, right? But it didn't even start with Trump, though. So I can't even put the full blame on Trump. It didn't start with Trump. Trump just seen that hole and he jumped right in it. He was like, well, shit, the hole is wide open. I might as well expose it for what it is, right? This has been a thing since before I was born. The United States has been pushing the envelope, but y'all have been so distracted with your little salaries, your little white collar job, right? Sitting in front of the computer, getting fat, right? Typing away, right? Oh, my 401k is looking almighty good, but fast forward to 2026, they probably about to steal that shit, and you ain't gonna be able to cash out. So now what? The whole time you've been looking the other way because your 401k looks good, right? The whole time y'all been looking away because you can afford a house. The whole time you've been looking away because you can somewhat afford life. Now fast forward 2026, lo and behold, damn near nobody can afford to live around this BI each. Damn near nobody can afford for gas, right? Food, housing. People are barely affording it. Y'all barely affording. People upside down on their mortgages. People looking at their mortgages. Property taxes done went up, right? The insurance rate done went up on your house. Everybody looking crazy. But nobody wants to say exactly what needs to be said. And nobody wants to do what needs to be done. Everybody wants to talk about Constitution this. It's so funny, right? Because you got these morons running around here talking about freedom of speech and freedom of speech, right? Myron Gaines ass ninjas, right? Nikki Fuentes ass ninjas, right? These ninjas are walking around, freedom of speech. Meanwhile, you have so many constitutional rights being trampled on. The Constitution is literally being burned before our very eyes, but nobody seems to want to talk about the real shit, right? Everybody want the N-word pass. Niggas want to walk around here saying whatever they want to say. Listen, I guarantee you, if you give people a pass to go ahead and say whatever they want to say to anybody, and they won't face any consequences, they'll rather do that than for money to start flowing again. They'll rather do that than to be able to afford a house. They'll rather do that than for groceries to be affordable again. They don't care about none of that. They don't care about none of the unaffordable things that's going on. They don't care about the war in Iran. Mofos just want the opportunity to go out here and say the hard ER. Like, what is going on? What's going on with these ninjas, man? Like, what stage of collapse are we in? Can anybody know? Anybody got a chart or anything that they can, guide me to? What stage of the collapse are we in? Because the fact that the general population is still worried about stupid stuff. Bro, the general population is worried about the dumbest of things. It's funny because it's sad, right? It's funny because it's not funny, right? The general population is so worried about the dumbest of the things, right? The dumbest, the lowest vibrational conversations that we're having, right? Meanwhile, The Constitution is literally being ripped up, right? What they're trying to do, ladies and gentlemen, is build a new system. I mean, I've said this already. I've been saying this. They're trying to build a new system, right? And quite frankly, probably trying to rewrite how America's done without that Constitution in the first place, right? Listen, many of y'all are not even, y'all wouldn't even stand up for the Constitution anyway. You're not even standing up for the Constitution anyway. Many people are listen, we can go down a whole rabbit hole with that, right? Many people don't care for the Constitution, right? Unless it just applies to them. I said it. If it doesn't apply to them, they want to trample on everybody else's rights. Well, you're giving a leeway for them to do it to you too, Dumbo. But people don't understand. Listen, just like the lady said, right? Things need to be done. Hard choices need to be made. But will they be made? Or will America just wait until it's too late? I've already given you my opinion. I say that it's too late. I think we're already at the end stages of collapse, right? I believe, as the United States continue to collapse, as we continue to try to reach for money, because y'all do know America's broke, right? Right? America has no money, right? We're looking for ways to fund ourselves, essentially. America has no money. So as we continue to go down, other countries just sitting back and waiting, essentially. They're just waiting for America finally to die off, right? That's what they're waiting on. And listen, y'all are helping with the collapse. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. Give yourself a round of applause. Y'all helped with this. Shouts out to all the red pill creators. Shouts out to all the Trump guzzlers, throat guzzlers. Shout out to all of y'all, man. Y'all did it. We did it, Joe. We did it. Y'all did it. Y'all did it. Y'all successfully sold your country out, right? Y'all successfully sold your country out. Y'all successfully converted the dim-witted followers of yours over, right? Convinced them that, everybody else was their problem instead of the problem that's literally right in our face. Congratulations, you played yourself. Congratulations, you played yourself. Right? So, listen, don't talk to me about no saving America. Don't talk to me about what should we do, right? Listen, what you should do is get a passport. That's what you should do. What you should do is, you better start hopping on your laptop and getting busy with some of this AI. That's what you should do. Well, I got people in the comment section talking about AI ain't gonna help. Man, listen, if AI ain't gonna help, go take your dirty ass into a ditch and just lay there for all I care. Right? If ain't nothing about to help you, go take your stanky, dirty, broke ass and go and lay in a ditch. Right? I'm tired of preaching to you ninjas, man. Right? So many people, y'all want a solution, but then when you're given a solution, you don't want to do anything. You don't want to do it. So take your dirty ass and go lay in a ditch. That's what you can do. Man. And if you're not trying to learn anything, if you're not trying to get ahead, if you're not trying to geomax, if you're not trying to get your passport and go ahead and try to escape what is going on, listen, we ain't got nothing else to talk about. I'm just reporting to you what's going on. I'm ringing the bells. Ding, 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 ding. So that's all I have to say about that matter. Listen, the after pill is the ideology. The escape blueprint is the framework. And PFP life is how you should live. In purpose, in freedom, and in power. Come over to the Patreon if you want to learn a thing or two, right? We're having our first networking event in Cartagena, Colombia at the end of the year, December going into January, celebrating the New Year's out there. If you want to be a part of that, come and join the inner circle only through the Patreon. And also, if you want to advance your mind, if you want to learn a thing or two, if you want to build a mindset up that it's going to take to survive in a new world, come over to the Patreon, hit that link in the description, and I'll show you a thing or two. And I'll see you guys over there. Peace.
I built a life. I built a family. I worked my hands raw to get here, and I'm not done. This is the escape blueprint, PFP life, a way out of the grind and into control. You'll learn how I stack cash, build systems, and reclaim time so you can live on your own terms. You will watch me maneuver and grind towards the life that I achieve for myself, and you can also do the same. Join the circle, join the Patreon, learn the steps, and protect your freedom. The Escape Blueprint. PFP Life.